Good afternoon to everyone. So my name is Eszter Hartay. I'm Program Director at the European Center for Not-for-Profit Law, and I'm really grateful for the kind invitation to join you today in this beautiful building. This is the first time I'm in Latvia, but I have great friends from the country, so I already felt connected. And I was talking to many of you already, and I'm really inspired by your great work. Together with my colleagues at ECNL, we have been working on laws, policies, and practices that enable spaces for action. So basically, it's our right to associate, to protest, to express our opinion. And participation in decision-making is the power of people to voice and share expertise and opinions. And we have heard already from many speakers how technology changes many aspects on how we take part in society. Many youth grow up as a digital native, which creates a lot of opportunities to engage, a lot of new ways of engagement and participation, as it has been already recognized by the EU Youth Strategy. And according to some surveys, 70–85% of the youth are playing some kind of online video games, which says that the use of technology can be a good tool to reach out to them, but also influence where they spend their time and how they take action. Because eventually, the challenges of today is going to be an issue for them, for their present and their future, issues like climate change. So recognizing this, over the past years, we delved more deeper into the use of digital tools and how they can promote and enhance public participation. So we did a research and we looked into key safeguards within the EU and also looked at different benefits and key types of specific to like online participation platforms, but also gamification and serious games. And we have also highlighted some other examples, for example, university labs and programs from at least 12 countries, and try to identify good practices, but also gaps, and come up with some recommendations on how we can fill this gap, how we can enhance public participation. So what we have learned is that if these tools are set up carefully and considering the needs of various groups, then digital platforms and also games can offer several advantages. So for example, it can reach a wider population, or it can be designed in a way that is accessible to people with disabilities, or it can facilitate real-time interaction, or allow to choose the most suitable format, like participatory budgeting, or polls, or surveys, elections, you name it. And reach also those people who might not typically engage in policymaking, such as youth. And we have identified many examples. So, for example, citizen engagement platforms, advocacy websites, petition platforms, also digital tools that support community engagement, such as town halls and so on. And we also looked into the examples of games and serious games, because research has shown that gamification and the use of serious games can succeed in increasing participation and the activity of participants. So there are also various kinds of games, and for example, information sourcing game, data generation games, pervasive games, or other ways called location-based games, deliberative games, co-design games, educational games, marketing games, and all the combination. And you probably are aware many of others, and we have highlighted many examples in the research if you are interested in more. But at the same time, and as many other speakers also highlighted, there are various considerations that need to be addressed during the integration of these tools into participation processes. So the first is definitely internet access and digital divide, and we need to consider people who do not have access to internet or the capabilities to make use of it. Also digital literacy. So these tools have to be equipped with a form of monitoring to counter the spread of disinformation. Also, it's important to put in place transparent, easily understandable, and inclusive content moderation policies. And privacy and data protection, we have talked also in the groups about it. There must be safeguards in place for all kinds of abuses, potential abuses of data processing. And of course, protection of human dignity. It's equally important in the digital space as in the physical space. And last but not least, effective follow-up and feedback is essential to show that contributions have been taken into consideration, because that's the point of the whole process. And as we have been looking into this online participation platform, we have seen a growing interest among public authorities to leverage AI tools to make participation processes more effective. According to the recently adopted UN Human Rights Council resolution on the role of good governance in the promotion and protection of human rights, if used in compliance with international human rights law, information and communication technology can be an effective tool to foster greater participation and contribution to promoting human rights principles and good governance. But is that realistic, or rather a false hope? Can the use of AI help make public participation more inclusive and ensure that people's input is integrated in the final policies and decisions? So together with my colleague at EC and our partners, we have been diving deeper into this topic. So online platforms have various AI-assisted tools with the aim of supporting accessibility, communication, the moderation and processing of content. So for example, there is an increased appetite for processing, analyzing, and summarizing inputs from consultations, and there are several pilots on the way. So some platforms are also using AI for content moderation. Also, there are translation services on these platforms, chatbots, automated moderators. AI can help also to propose relevant topics to platform users or provide data regarding the participants' practices, and also increase user engagement. So these are some of what we have mapped so far, but as we speak, there are many under development. And you might have tested also yourself some of it, so it would be very interesting to hear your experiences. So there are various types of benefits, again, related to using these tools. It can help to find and extract patterns from data. It has the potential of deliberation. It could save time and cost, and let me get back to this point later. Helps to visualize results. The translation services can also solve language barriers, can help to analyze and synthesize responses, and help to also analyze big data sets. So it has the potential to scale up. And also separate digital technology platforms and systems can also work together. But there are a lot of other considerations, including privacy risk. Also, AI is relying on existing data set, so that can actually amplify past discrimination and reinforce existing bias. Digital divide is also a potential risk. Exclusion instead of inclusion. So technology becomes an intermediary between people and governments, and also can create more distance. AI may lean also towards averages and can have this drowning effect. So we can lose fringe voices to find a middle ground alignment. So it can steer actually people in certain directions. And also misinformation is hacking is a risk. So taking one example, the functionality of processing, analyzing, and summarizing inputs from consultation. One of the questions is, what we are asking ourselves and also developers as they do pilots of AI tools, is it really more efficient than humans? If there will be a human in the loop, it will address potential risks, like, for example, not including certain voices. So this human person will need to cross-check the summary if this will be in line with the feedbacks in the consultation. If we will really going to address all these risks and consideration, Does it going to make it real effective? So technological optimism, what we call, must be scrutinized by rigorous human rights safeguards, as the stakes are quite high. Poorly designed AI systems risk amplifying existing inequalities, and digital device silencing minority voices and eroding public trust. So what do we want from a human rights center tool? Are we ready to invest time and money? ECNL developed and soon will launch a framework for human rights centered tools. And let me summarize 3 key points. First, it is important to have a human rights impact assessment that examines how AI systems affect societal structures, power dynamics, and fundamental rights. Across society and in communities, it should be developed by the responsible institutions before any development begins. The second is to mitigate the potential risks. So we recommend a diverse panel to jointly define solutions and also develop parameters for each consultation project, including civil society, technical experts, linguists, and subject matter experts. And the third is human in the loop. It should be substantive and could be achieved, for example, by having a robust workflow that requires the AI system to systematically flag certain outputs for human review. The fourth is civil society organizations and diverse communities should shape both the implementation but also the design decisions of AI tools. And multi-stakeholder dialogues that includes like you, academia, civil society, state institutions, technical experts could be a solution. And fifth, the AI system should provide a two-way transparency and traceability. So metrics for evaluating AI systems could include efficiency, accuracy, inclusiveness, actual enhancement of participation rights, community trust, and policy impact and human rights assessment. But how can institutions meaningfully engage civil society and affected communities? So even if there is an interest, organizations might find it difficult where to start. So to support that, ISNA, together with Society Inside, developed a framework for meaningful engagement. It has been a result of a co-creation and consultation with more than 300 individuals and groups from civil society, private sector, public sector, globally, and it aims to mitigate and prevent the harms of AI products. So the 3 key elements of meaningful engagement is co-created shared purpose, trustworthy process, and visible impact. And the framework was just recently updated with pilots with Discord and the city of Amsterdam, and we will be launching soon, so stay tuned. I'm very happy to share afterwards. And so we all have a really important role to play in designing and implementing digital participation tools in an inclusive and human rights compliant way. So what can each of us do? So as a public institution, it's important to commit to a vigorous process, even when it's slower and more complex, just purely technical solutions, to allocate sufficient funding and budget for human rights work, not just technical development, to establish like multi-stakeholder governance before beginning a development process. For us as civil society organizations to demand our seat at the table, at the design table, not just during the consultation opportunities, to insist on publishing a human rights impact assessment before deployment and hold institutions accountable through monitoring and also through public advocacy. And for technology developers, to design for transparency and also human oversight from the beginning. and to prioritize minority voices, amplification feature above over efficiency, and also engage ethicists and rights experts as at the core team members, not just after. And so for the public, for all of us, to ask the question, how was my input analyzed? Can I trace it in the final decision? Who reviewed the AI's work? And use a grievance mechanism if when I see that AI misrepresents my perspective. And last but not least, to participate in impact assessments and usability testing. And the same applies to academia as for the developers and also the users of technology. And in addition, when you do research, it's important to keep all this into consideration. So I stop here, also in the interest of time, and I'm very happy to answer any question.